Hi again. So this is video number 2, and this is a tutorial video where I'm going to be teaching you the technique required for certain exercises. Now, video number 3 is going to sequence these exercises, and what these exercises are all about is helping you stay ready for jumps and turns. These are all physio exercises that are super duper helpful for that. And so I'm going to guide you through each exercise one at a time, and I want you to take a special note of the technique involved, because truly you only get benefit from these exercises if you use the proper technique, but you also can avoid injury if you use the proper technique. And I would hate for any of these physio exercises to lead you to any injury. So it's so important that you learn the proper technique and stay really safe with your body. What's also going to be interesting is that there's multiple levels within the same exercises, and so I'll be showing you different options to make it harder or easier for that matter. And just make sure that you be really honest with yourself and choose the level that is suitable to your current strength, because you can always progress, but if you go too far too fast, you can just get hurt. And I really, really want you to stay safe. This is all meant to help you and keep you in good condition. So just remember that important point that this is not considered physiotherapy care, but it is for educational purposes, and you may proceed at your own risk and contact your physiotherapist or myself if you need any further guidance more specifically. Okay, thank you. See you in a moment. I'm going to show you each exercise, but I got to transition to my mat. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye. Hi! So, exercise number 1 are going to be our press-ups. The reason that we do these exercises is because the lower leg is a huge part of dance for your releves, for your turns, for your jumps, and it's proven in research that if you don't have good endurance in any of those lower leg muscles, that you're so much at risk for ankle sprains or for tendonitis kind of injuries. And so if we can keep that area in nice condition over this pandemic season, you'll have such a more successful return to dance. And so for the press-ups, they can either be done in turnout or in parallel, and depending on your dancing, you probably want to do a bit of both, but only if you can do the proper technique. And so we want to do parallel or turned out, plus we can either do it on 2 legs or we can do it on 1 leg. And then we can either use a bar, and you're going to have to improvise in your house because I imagine most of you don't have a dance studio, but at the very least you have the back of a chair, or you have a kitchen counter or something. I happen to have this cool shelf in my basement, so I'm going to use that. But just improvise and make sure you have something to touch so that you don't roll over your ankle in case you're about to lose your balance. But let me show you what the 2-legged press-up would look like. Basically, we're just really nicely lined up on 2 legs parallel, and we're just going to rise up and down, and up and down. When we go up, we want to make sure that we're getting really nice tracking with our ankle and our foot right over the center of our foot. It should be that your knee and the middle of your ankle all line up over the center of your foot, which is approximately your 2nd toe for most people. And so we just want to make sure it's like that, not like woo sickling or really woo winging. We want to really be nice and straight and absolutely bring those ankles up over the center of the foot. And so that would be the 2-legged version. The 1-legged version is the same thing, just obviously dramatically harder. So you're going to choose whichever one you can do approximately 15 of, and make sure you don't struggle too much. If you think you can do the 1 leg and you're confident that you can do 15, great. If not, do 2 legs or do a blend. But I'll sequence that for you in video number 3, but just so you know, that's what that looks like. But also, if we did it turned out, we want to make sure we got our turnout from the top of our leg, not by twisting at our ankle. Nothing should happen at the ankle, all of it should happen at the top of the leg. And when we do that turnout, the same thing happens, that we want the tracking to occur. We don't want to roll to the big toe or roll to the baby toe. We want to be right up in the middle and make sure that we're neither sickling nor winging out our foot, and that we keep our pelvis nice and tall, and we keep our posture nice and tall, and we keep our deep abdominals really engaged, and that we just continue with that ballet type posture throughout the entire exercise. And like I said, we're going to repeat them to about 15 reps, and I'll guide you through that in video number 3. So that is the press-up exercise. Now, one more thing about the press-up exercise. You can either do it, if it's like really a struggle for you with your balance, you could do it facing your bar and do it that way. That would be the easiest. The next one would be sideways to your bar, and that would be like a little bit harder. But harder still would be to what we call intermittent use of the bar, that you might be able to do some of it without, see I'm losing my balance, I need my bar. But basically, I might be able to do some of these without touching and just use my bar as needed. Now, if I know I have superior, fantastic ankle strength, then I could not need a bar at all. I still want to be close by just in case, but I might be able to do the whole thing without in any way touching the bar, and that would be called the no bar version. So you can choose whether it's facing or sideways or intermittent use or no use of the bar. All of these would make it gradually harder as you improve over the coming weeks and months. So that's your press-up exercise. Now we can stay close by to our bar also for this one, where we're going to do single leg stance. And single leg stance just looks like that. And you might think, whoa, that's like way too easy. But for some people that is hard enough. And because what I want your goal to be is that you can do one whole entire minute without having to, fall over or touch your foot. And so you just want to be able to stand for 1 minute. And if that is truly doable and you achieve that goal, woohoo, celebrate that. But then you can make it harder by scanning the room with your eyes. And I don't know if you can see that, but my eyes are moving around and that makes it way more wobbly at my ankle, but I can still do it. But if I'm really doing well with that, the next level of difficulty is to do it with your eyes closed. And I don't know if you can see, but my ankle gets way more excited. And I can probably do 10 to 20 seconds, but I probably wouldn't be able to do an entire minute like this myself. But some of you might be able to do it that way, and if you can, that's fantastic. Just make sure you have a controllable wobble in your ankle, nothing that's going to lead you to roll over in a way that's going to sprain your ankle. That would be absolutely not what is meant for. It's all meant to help prevent you from having an ankle injury as long as you choose the right level of intensity. So that's your single leg stance. And if that's still too easy, you can make it interesting by changing where your leg is. Now this is all being done in parallel, or you could do it turned out and do something like a passe or like a développé or something to keep it a little bit harder if you're finding it just too easy. But the basic to master first is just, can you do it when you're just still and with a whole entire minute happening before you touch, and then we'll switch and do the other leg. And I'll sequence this, like again, I will sequence it for you in the video number 3. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to change position to teach you the next exercise, so I'll be right back. So, exercise number 3 is all about strengthening these muscles of our body. These are called your quadriceps, but this exercise will also do a little bit for your glutes and your hamstrings. And it's the exercises known as the world of squats. Now, I highly recommend for dancers a bar squat or a door squat. Most of us don't have bars in our houses, but we all have doors, and so we're going to do it that way. That we're going to get our hands into the little crook of the door here. Make sure no one's going to close the door suddenly on you, because that would be a finger injury and we don't want that. But you basically go into the door, and then we're making a seated chair look with our legs. So we're actually going backwards with our derriere, and we're making ourselves into the shape of a chair. And we go back and forth like that, down and up, all making sure we're not going forward into the plie realm, but we're more going back into the squat realm. I'm keeping my curve in my back by not tucking my pelvis under. So you want to make sure that you're hinging at your hip joint there and not in any way losing the curve of your back. That would be wrong like that. But also, I'll face you for this one. You want to make sure your knees 100% perfectly track through your foot. You don't want your knees kissing each other or going way open. You want them to be really lined up and going straight ahead. And that will keep your knee really healthy as well. So if you really are comfortable, you could do it without the door and it would look like this, but that's just quite a bit harder. But then the other advantage of the door is you can do a single leg squat, but only if, again, like everything else, you keep to your proper limits and you make sure that you're doing what your body is best suited for, to the tune of about 15 reps. So you want to pick the exercise that you can do approximately 15 reps of and feel a nice tired feeling in your muscles, but not anything that you have to sacrifice your technique for. So here we are on one leg. It would look like that on this leg. Maybe I'll do it on this leg to show you better. But we still sit way back. We keep our curve in our back. We don't tuck our pelvis under. We don't go inwards with our knee. We make sure it's right in line with our foot. And we go down and up like that. And you should feel that in these muscles, nothing underneath the kneecap, nothing around the knee. It should all be in the quadricep muscles themselves. A little bit your glutes and a little bit your hamstrings. And so that will help keep you ready to do all sorts of wonderful jumps as soon as the opportunity arises. That's exercise number 3. We're back to our bar for exercise number 4. Exercise number 4 is similar to exercise number 1 because it is about the rise, but it's with a twist. We're going to do it from a plie into the rise, and because of that, we're making it so specific to the journey up to a turn and the actual journey up and down from jumps. And so it's very specific to jumps and turns, and I love it. So similar to exercise number 1, we've got all different ways to make it customized and different to our own unique situation. So we can do it on 2 legs or on 1 leg. We can do it facing the bar, sideways to the bar, intermittent use of the bar, or no bar. And we can do it either parallel or turned out. So you can mix and match the parallel and turn out, but just make sure you're choosing the right level of difficulty for your own abilities. And so the plie rise, I'll start on 2 legs, I'll start parallel, and I'll start with my hand sideways to the bar and on the bar. So I'm going to go plie, rise, plie, rise, plie, rise, and we're going to be repeating that approximately 15 times. If that's way too easy for you, then you'd be ready for the single leg version, which looks like plie, rise, plie, rise. But it's really important that you keep your lower abdominals engaged, that you keep your pelvis upright, so it shouldn't be looking tilted forward, and I call that the little bunny tail. You shouldn't be tucking under, and I call that the little shy dog. You should just be nice and upright at the front, like a straight line, and at the back, it looks like a peacock tail could just be going to the floor from that gentle angle. So that's what we're looking for, tall front, peacock back. And basically, as long as we do that and we don't hike our pelvis in any which way, we're good to go. So on 1 leg is more the risk for the hiked pelvis. Don't let that happen. Make sure you're plie releve, and that would be like your jazz turns if you did it parallel. If you do it plie releve turned out, then that's more like, a temps leve or something like that, goes through exactly the same mechanics. And so this is the one where if you're choosing turnout, you have a few more technical things to sort out. That is that you make sure your turnout is coming from the top of your leg and that your knee absolutely, because of that, goes right through the center of your foot and does not creep forward, because literally that situation, whether it's from jumps or turns, is what leads to the majority of major injuries in dance. And so we want to master that concept and use this time at home to really cultivate a healthy technique about that process and make sure that your knee is always tracking over the center of your foot, because you're turning out properly from the top of your leg and not cheating from your ankle. So you might be able to be a no bar version. I'm not, but I could maybe be an intermittent use of the bar version and do some of them without needing the bar. But you want to choose the amount of difficulty that is right for you. And that would be exercise number 4. But now we can go straight into exercise number 5. And actually it's very similar to exercise number 2. It's all about improving our ankle balance ability. But this time we're going to challenge it with changing the level that we go up and down to. And that basically is going to be that we're going to do plies on 1 leg. So single leg stance with repeating plies. That's our exercise number 5. And again, we can do this parallel or we can do this turned out, but we're also going to keep repeating for an entire minute. So you want to make sure you choose the one that you can do better and still be nearby a bar just in case you wobble. You want to make sure you catch yourself before anything else happens. But the concept of changing the levels is very much like the fondus that we do in dance, the landings from the jumps. Really important to have that steadiness in the ankle for the changing levels. Also just simple life tasks like going downstairs. That's literally what we do. And so we basically can choose our parallel, our turned out, various versions of the bar, preferably no bar if at all possible. And then we really want to make sure the same technical things happen whereby we keep our deep abdominals going really well. If we're doing turnout, we make sure we're doing that from the top of the leg and that we're really tracking our knee through the center of our foot really nicely. And you want to make sure your pelvis stays in that upright position, no bunny tail, no doggy, little shy dog, no tilting, no anything like that. So we just want to make sure that we're completely level, completely upright in the front, and that peacock at the back, and we'll be off to a great experience with repeating plies. Okay, so now we're gonna head over to our final exercise of this series, which is exercise number 6, and I'm gonna need to go to the mat, and so I'll just change up the angle and I'll be right with you. So, we're back for exercise number 6. This one happens on the floor. If you don't have a mat, that's okay, but if you do, you might as well use it, it's nice. If you really would like a mat, but you don't have a mat, you can always use a blanket or something like that just to soften what your tailbone feels like on the ground. But this exercise is called bridges, and we can do it 2 legs or 1 leg, but it's all about working the back of our legs. So our hamstrings, our glutes, a little bit our back, and this is also a good core exercise as long as we engage our core. So I'll show you how this goes. First of all, on 2 legs. So we're on our back, and we make sure our knees are bent about 90 degrees or so. We make sure our feet are firmly planted on the ground, not on the outsides or the insides, just right in the middle. And we make sure we really engage our lower abdominals as if we're bringing our organs down towards our spine. But we don't need to tuck our pelvis under. We can keep our nice neutral spine, a tiny, tiny little space in the back. So use those deep abdominals. Now we're going to push our feet into the ground to lift our pelvis off the ground. And you should really feel that engage the entire back of your leg. And then make sure you can keep your pelvis supported with those lovely deep abdominals, and then come on back down nice and careful. And so then you're going to do that in a repeating fashion as well. And if 2 legs gives you enough of an effort for 15 reps, then that's great. But if that's a bit too easy for you, which for some of you it will be, then you can do it on 1 leg and be able to go up and down. I'll just move my leg a bit higher just to show you what this leg is doing. But basically same idea, that you're pushing the floor away, just like you would when you're jumping. You're pushing the floor away, and then you're feeling the back of your leg working. Now, the critical detail here is that you're not tipping your pelvis, so it's really easy to dip like that. That feels easier, but it's incorrect. You need to keep very, very level, as if, you know, it's exactly the same between the 2 sides of your pelvis there. And then you come up and down. And I'll sequence this for you in video number 3, but we're not quite there yet because I just want you to make sure you know all of these exercises thoroughly, and make sure you review this tutorial video as many times as you need in order to get a sense of the entire program. And then when we get to video number 3, we're just going to run through it from start to finish. You're going to be able to play your own music and have some fun with it. And basically, we're just going to condition all parts of our leg as it relates to turns and jumps, and we're going to make it as fun as possible. Okay, thanks so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye. See you soon.